Yeah, people, I'm back. And, we're going to have a great show today. Wanted to talk about some of the crazy stuff going on around the city. As they're talking about this Legionnaires, nothing new with the Legionnaires. It's been out for quite some time. It's people knowledge. This thing is spreading around parts of Harlem and now the Bronx. They're also talking about that flesh-eating parasite, the worm that comes from the larvae of a specific fly from South America. Everything just seemingly is coming overseas and at the same time. Also, the Black Plague over here has been picking up. People are talking about the Black Plague again. Somebody actually died from this thing, and they're finding more people with this somehow. I don't understand how that's even possible. And now, we have this Chiggers, this Chagas, I believe, Chiggers. I don't know. I could be misspelling it. I am not mispronouncing the word, though. It is this bug they call the assassin bug. I've heard of this bug before. I saw it on some Animal Planet stuff where they show this bug would crawl over your mouth. And then it would release fecal matter, and this fecal matter is highly toxic to us. It would kill us. Hence the assassin bug, or somebody was calling it the kiss of death bug or something. It has several different names. But I thought that was an interesting thing because none of these things are from here. Scratching my head on this issue. And trying to figure out why would this be all going on now? I was talking with Dr. Z this morning, and I was saying to myself, this had to be something lab-made, lab experiments. Almost like the bee situation that happened in Brooklyn over the summer, where there was just millions of bees flocking the city. And I'm like, in reality, in the heat, without the, quantity of food and everything else, is going against these bugs, the pollution, temperatures, all sorts of things that would come into play of these bugs' survival. You see that they released them in the cities, and we're talking about this before with different things like the mosquitoes, with the bed bugs. All the bugs, really, mostly. Almost anything that doesn't seem like you've seen it before and all of a sudden you're seeing it now is obviously not a natural coincidence. It's not like to think that the science is looking to tamper with all this information, as it continues to track the data, the numbers, the algorithm, the statistics, that squiggly line going all the way to the tippy top here. And I was thinking to myself, this 2031 situation, with everything happening, are they looking to just eradicate as many people as possible? With this whole, what is it called? They're calling this object in space. It has a name. It's something 31, I forget. I'm not impressed, people. They're blatantly doing a lot of stuff. They don't care anymore. They don't care that we are either aware or not aware. They're like, I don't give a shit. And I went on this rant the other day talking about this. Because again, people watch wrestling and they know that's fake. And they don't care. And they let their opinions be known what they want out of this. So I guess they're looking at it in a similar way. Like, people want this alien invasion. And, we're going to listen to the fans. We're going to give them what they want. They want these anal probes. They want to know what it's like to be, manhandled by either the small grays or the tall grays, the small greens or the tall greens, or, possibly packing their asses up in those interdimensional portals of Walgreens. I don't know. Seems like people want all this drama. And now with all this diseases, rapid, it's flying around the city, people wondering, are we going to be able to drink the drinking water? Is it okay? Are they putting fear into this whole thing? I don't know. Are they trying to stop people from doing certain activities? I have no idea. It is very fascinating of, all the things that have been going on. Because I do find that, some of this stuff just doesn't even make sense when you try to put sense to things. And that possibly is a crime right now. Trying to put sense to nonsensical behaviors. you may just find that you are, putting your mental health at risk doing so because you don't want to get caught up trying to figure out why things were happening. Trying to ask the question, what the fuck is happening? What's happening? I don't know. And, with the morning starting off, weird. So listening to the news, getting a couple of stories together, conversations together. They do their native New Yorker thing. I'm used to it every Friday. And then Mike Woods decides he's going to start twerking his ass cheeks all over the screen. I'm like, oh, God, stop it. Stop. Get it away from me. He did it twice. I didn't record that twice because I couldn't take it. I barely was able to deal with the first time he did it. But again, you could go check out that short and, and answer the poll there, should they cancel the twerk ever since that moment? It's never going to get erased from my mind and my eyes. As much as I would like it to be. And, going over all of that, I mean, obviously, we're dealing with some uncertain times. We don't know what exactly is, ahead of us. Sometimes we like to think that we can predict the future. But there's tons of things that's going to just happen unexpectedly. And that's just the way it is. The societal shift is obviously upon us, people. And talking about societal shifts, I was checking out some of the stories about Trump. And recently, he's removing all the, security that's in place for all the nations that's surrounding Russia. And if that is the case, are we going to be hearing more Russian invasions? Will they be occupying more space? Will they be taking over more regions? Is this helping Russia? Is Trump down with Russia? Because as much as he says that he wants to put an end to all the things that Putin does at times, he doesn't necessarily get in the way of those things, as he seems to do things that allow Putin to continue on his journey of, taking over and occupying space, creating the world tension over here. And they're talking about him uniting with Korea and China's world leaders as they were showing a show of strength to the rest of the world. Letting people know what's what. Letting everybody know that he's around, and maybe that they're looking to get into a, their own little powerhouse, doing their own little power plays, and slowly looking to usurp America. As America is not only looking to make itself great again, but is also looking to stay as a competitive provider, and staying in the lane of competition here. But, I don't know. I don't know where we stand as far as all this goes. They were talking about this show straight from China with an army parade that supposedly put fear into the world leaders. I don't know. You got to question all that stuff. But, again, they're pushing China, to be the world's leader at some point and leading everything, in the way of technology and advancements and AI and the laws and the way that people are going to be dealing with life and the overpopulation and everything else. I mean, they just seem to be trending all those areas out. I don't know. Do people agree with their way of living, with their way of life? I don't know. And talking about these foreign countries with their foreign foods, we were talking about the shrimps the other day with the radiation levels being ridiculous. With the radiated chemical in it that, possibly can mutate your genes, your genetics, and everything else. We even had Senator John Kennedy talking about if you eat these shrimps, you're going to look like the goddamn aliens from, the Alien movie. And even if you don't look like this damn alien over here, you obviously are going to be growing several different appendages. I don't know. But, they were talking about that. And then this morning, they were talking about eggs. The contamination, the fake eggs they're making now with these protein things and these gel balls, and they were talking about how it's making its way into the Americas. No, this is old news, obviously, because even myself have come into contact possibly with these weird eggs. I mean, I've cracked a few of them, and I'm like, this don't look like no egg to me. It ain't even, moving around like an egg and leaking around like an egg does. So I was throwing them out. I remember one time me and Dr. Z bought a pack of eggs, and it was like all the eggs were so weird. Neither one of us ate these things. We're like, we're not fucking around. And this was way before this became public matters. So it caused us to change the brand of the eggs that we were eating, and we continuously kind of just try to pay attention to some of the food trends. Obviously, you don't have a choice in a matter of some of the consumption of food that you're going to get, because, again, we can't get farmland food like some people would suggest. And if you do get anything fresh grown produce, you need to know somebody. You need an inside. And with everything being bought out by, Bill Gates and his genetically modified peppers and this man's 3D printed meats. Bill Gates trying to put his meat in your mouth. Who knew, people? Would you put Bill Gates' meat in your mouth? Do you currently know if you have his meat in your mouth? You wouldn't even know. They're not going to tell you this came from Bill Gates' house. This meat was sourced by Bill Gates. Billy Gates, as I like to call him. How much farmland do they own? How much of this individual's foods get processed throughout the world? And how much of them do we end up getting into our systems? And what can it do in the overall, in the overall, in the long-term damage? What kind of bodily harm can it do? What kind of genetic changes can it cause? Can it attack your RNA and your DNA? Is it specifically meant to, do so? I don't know. We kind of want to know. We've been running through all these questions, these fascinations, as we continue to work through all these shows here and try to bring you the stories that I think will possibly, mean the most to you. And hopefully you do. And talking about these stories and everything else that was going on, I was trying to figure out what is happening with the internet. What is going on with this Ghislaine Glizzy's Maxwell's testimony? Every time I try to upload this video, I had saved it and everything, and it just seems like they're burying this thing. Is there internet suppression? Is it a shadow ban? Is it getting sent to the shadow realm? Are they packing this bitch's testimony up? Are they shipping it out of here? I don't think they're trying to let us get to the nitty-gritty. They're talking about releasing sensitive information on the Epstein files. They're talking about the victims and anybody else that may have been part of these victimizations to go forward. Call 1-800-FBI. Tons of public knowledge references are being re-released. I was thinking that the testimony that Maxwell was giving was going to give us some insight. She definitely started dropping some names. All of a sudden, I couldn't get the audio anymore. They just found shitty audios with looping conversations. I am going to try my best to find it again today, and maybe we can rock out and get a little bit deeper into the conspiracy. Because they don't want me to do it. They don't want me to bring you the news. They don't want me to break it down for you. They don't want me to talk about this man's sexual encounters with some of the people that he partnered with. They don't want to talk about the way he blackmailed people to steal their money to create his own business wealth. They don't want to talk about this shady man's behaviors, his shady dealings. Obviously a shyster, a scoundrel, a weasel. But obviously I don't think he was a coward. Even if they tell you he was a coward, he hung himself. I don't think so. Obviously, this man had tons of information. It may have been, even safeguarding some of this information, and then somebody said, I'm going to pack this man the fuck up. I'm getting him the fuck out of here. We don't need him to talk. And then they forgot the cross-dressers that he was hanging out with. They didn't get them all, apparently. And apparently Maxine is, going to tell all. She's looking to tell it all, people. She was breaking it down. She was like, yeah, me and Epstein were friends with benefits, but that didn't mean we had sex. because this man's heart couldn't take it. She would have gave this man a stroke, she says, or did she just, I don't know what's her version of, friends with benefits. Hell, we don't even know what's her version of sex at this point. She may have all this mixed up, but then again, she may have all nefarious means. I mean, when I was listening to the testimony, obviously, she was doing her very best to be very careful with the way that she would articulate these conversations, with the way that she would present the information to the FBI and the DOJ and everything else, because she was making sure not to implicate herself way too seriously. She was doing a fine job of making sure to leave out tons of information and possibly mislead people with some of the misinformation that she gave. I don't know. Was she telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I wouldn't know because I wasn't there. She reveals what she feels like revealing. She explains things in a way that she feels is possibly for her best interest. Is she protecting her beneficiaries' interests? I mean, I don't know if she has any of those, but you would wonder. You would assume, though, and is she protecting people aside from herself? Like when she was talking about Donald Trump and the meeting and knowing him since she was younger and having a previous relationship in the sense of family knowing him and business deals and everything else. I mean, this is no secret. He's explained the same thing. We've heard Donald Trump say he knew her when she was younger. Really didn't have any, what was it? Too many back and forth with them as years went on. It was a point where they just didn't see each other for years, supposedly. I don't believe any of this stuff, really, because I think that they're all in cahoots. They're all working together to try to keep this secret. As much as it's being exposed, they're doing everything they can to keep it from fully being disclosed. They're doing everything in their power to distract you. And now with this whole alien situation, the huge diversion, and this whole, what is it now? They're saying alien tech, they're being sent, what was it? They were saying they were being sent, not images, I'm sorry. They were receiving messages, not only from the object, but supposedly from Mars, dude. I don't know. Or was it Venus? I forget which planet they were saying they were receiving tons of, transmission and, attempts to make contact. And now with this space object floating through, the skies, through the stars, through the solar systems, looking to, make its way over here in November. They're saying that it's going to be hiding behind the sun. They don't know if we're going to be, under an imminent attack. As people have their suggestions of what possibly is going to happen. Is this going to be Project Bluebeam? Are they going to do it? Are they really ready to roll it out? Do they feel that they could get away with it? They're just going to twist the narrative the same way that they did with everything else they did, with the diseases and, with everything that they do with the treatment, the one world treatment for the one world disease. They're talking about another disease, possibly from China, looking to make a huge outbreak. It got people screaming, close the borders, close the fucking border. But again, I think that this is all lab made, and I think that it's purposely released, and I think that this is what they're going to continue to do throughout the next few years to get everybody used to these ideas and living the way that they lived during COVID. As they push for extremes over here, they first say, oh, you can't get yourself a COVID shot with everything. It's going to be a little tougher to get them, and then they get everybody riled up. I want one. I need one. This new disease is coming. I need these shots. I need my added protection. So the people are running around trying to get all these shots in them, and then you hear all sorts of diseases ravaging everybody, the Black Plague and chiggers and the Legionnaires and everything else, and you got to wonder, all right, they said that they found the explanation for some of this stuff. They got answers for some of this stuff, but is it really the answer, or is it coming from the stuff they put in those vials? The stuff they're putting in your body, the stuff they injecting you with, is that really the answer? I don't know. But it is an interesting question. You know, when you think about what they put on the food, what they put in the medicine, what they put in the vaccines, you know, you gotta wonder. And now we have Robert Kennedy Jr. talking about, non-vaccinated children. Dr. Z seems to think that this is going to skyrocket all forms of diseases. You know, I don't know. I'm in a split sometimes when it comes to this administration. I don't like everything they do, but I don't dislike everything they do either. Again, I don't have any political affiliations. I'm just being honest about some of the stuff they do, some of the stuff they say, and then some of the things I don't approve of. Obviously, I don't approve of everything that they do because I'm not, the biggest fan. I don't care what anybody says. You know, but I am, looking towards having a better health, having better habits, and, creating better moments, creating a better show, creating the bigger platform. As we continue to break the translational barrier, as we continue to smash through the expectations, smash through the barriers, smash through the glass ceiling, hopefully we continue to be a smashing success. Hopefully we're going to be a part of your adult time talk conversations. And hopefully you're going to download my shows. Take them with you wherever you go. Whether you want a plane, train, e-bike, e-scooter, or whatever you do, however you travel, hopefully the Remember Me podcast can be a part of your traversing as you continue to crash out to these streets. And hopefully we're going to help you beat the elites, because they're trying to kill us. They're trying to get us down to a, reasonable number. And as we talked about the eradication of the human species through various means, through technology and AI, through disease and, war, famine, through, racism, and, unavailable way to meet each other in the middle. But hopefully this show is slowly bringing everybody together, like one slice of bread and another slice of bread coming together like a sandwich. Hopefully you're taking a big bite out of kebab sandwich. Because again, I like to think that I am the only food for thought here. And I like to think that information tends to be very delicious. Yum, 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 yum. Delicious, like a very Hannibal Lecter style of a taste buds. And, again, I'm getting ready to cut out this show. But I did want to bring that awareness to some of these talking points. There was tons of things I wanted to talk about, but I might just cover that on another show. Because again, Uncle Bobby's going to bring you banger after banger after banger from the morning, afternoon, or whenever we catch you, or whenever you wake up really. Just remember me.